Now listen closely. It's not by chance that you made it here. This is no coincidence. It's not luck. You were guided. You were chosen. And if you arrived at this video, it's because the decree has already been issued in the heavens. From this moment on, God is taking control of your life, and with Him in control, the era of endless abundance begins. But pay attention. This has nothing to do with easy money. This is about spiritual recognition. You were tested, tried, and humiliated. They mocked your faith. They ignored your prayers. They trampled on your seeds. But what they didn't know is that you were being prepared to reign. While many were chasing fame, you were seeking understanding. While they followed shortcuts, you walked through the desert. And now, heaven is responding to you. Because when the chosen endures pain in silence, when he stands firm even while broken, God steps in, and He is stepping in now. Do you know what's happening in this exact moment? A spiritual government shift. Chaos was trying to dominate you. Voices of fear were trying to manipulate you. Delaying energies were trying to hold you back, but it's over. A new authority is being established over your life, and this authority comes from the throne. God is taking the reins. He Himself is stepping into the areas you couldn't fix. In your health, in your home, in your relationships, and above all, in your finances. Because there's something the world still doesn't understand. Money is also spiritual, and when it falls into the wrong hands, it becomes destruction. But when it's placed in the hands of a chosen one, it becomes a divine tool. You were kept out of the system because the system feared you. You were left aside because your presence is confronting. Have you noticed that? Your energy never goes unnoticed. Wherever you go in any environment, you disturb the atmosphere. But now God says, it's time to take your position. It's time to transfer the treasures that were hidden. I will give you back what was stolen from your bloodline. I will connect you to the resources that are already yours in the spiritual realm. You know that feeling that everything is about to change, even though you can't explain it yet? That's your spirit receiving in advance what your eyes haven't seen. It's your soul vibrating with divine confirmation. And yes, you are right. The change has begun. And this time, you won't need to chase it. It will come to you. But there's one condition. Surrender control. Stop trying to do it with your own hands. Stop justifying yourself to those who lack discernment. Stop insisting on doors that God has already closed. You were trained to trust. You were shaped to depend on the Most High. Now it's time to place it all on the altar and say, Lord, take control. Let your plan be done, not mine. And by doing this, you activate what was blocked. You remove the veils that were hiding the truth. You release the inheritance that was held back for generations. That's why so much collapsed. That's why you felt like you lost everything. Because God needed space to build something that cannot be torn down. You're not just about to receive blessings. You're about to become a channel of multiplication. Do you realize the weight of this? Your life will no longer be about survival. It will become provision for others. You will touch projects, businesses, connections, and everything you touch will bear fruit. Because the favor is upon you. Because you are not just anyone. You are a chosen one. And the time of scarcity is over. Now I want you to understand something that will change the way you see everything. True wealth begins in the invisible, Before gold touches your hands, it must first touch your spirit. Before external abundance comes internal activation. That's why so many rich people are miserable. That's why so many millionaires feel empty. Because without the divine essence, money is just paper. But when God is in control, even the little multiplies. Even your pain becomes an investment. Even your tears are turned into a source of harvest. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, but nothing flowed? Have you noticed that the right doors always seemed closed for you? Well, it wasn't rejection. It was redirection. God was saying, "This is not where I will pour out your provision." And what you called failure was just disguised protection. Do you know why? Because the chosen have a kind of destiny that cannot be contaminated. They cannot blend in. They cannot settle for crumbs just to look like they are winning. God doesn't want you to have just enough. He wants you to overflow, and the overflow is coming. But it won't come from where you expect. It won't come from the source you were trying to manipulate. It will come from where you least imagine. God specializes in using the unlikely to surprise the world. It was like this with Joseph in Egypt. It was like this with David before Goliath. It was like this with Esther before an empire. And it's like this with you now. He is raising up someone unlikely to manifest the impossible. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to beg for help. Your dependence now is celestial, and those who walk with heaven do not trade their essence for human approval. The time of waiting is over, and God is releasing the codes of manifestation. What you already felt in your heart but couldn't yet materialize is being pulled from the spiritual realm into reality. But for that, you need to do one thing. Wake up. Awaken. Realize you are no longer trapped. The prison was mental. The block was energetic. The limitation was spiritual. But when God takes control, He breaks invisible chains. Chains of beliefs. Chains of guilt. Chains of comparison. And when those chains fall, you begin to see who you've always been. You always had the seed. You always had the vision. You always had the strength. What was missing was the right time, and the right time is now. God is changing your environment, changing your connections, removing those who delayed your calling, destroying hidden alliances that were sabotaging your prosperity. Because yes, there is a spiritual war around you, and it's not because you are weak. It's because you are too dangerous for hell. Your light disturbs, your faith destabilizes, your calling echoes through the celestial realms. And that's why you were so attacked. But now, the divine counterattack has begun. Everything that was stolen will be restored. Everything that was denied will be rewarded. And everything that was disbelieved will become testimony. Pay attention. It's not about being lucky. It's not about being in the right place. It's about being the right person. And you were chosen to break cycles, to carry the torch that will illuminate generations, to access resources you never imagined, but that were already programmed in your eternal destiny. But understand, the wealth that begins now is not just financial. It is mental, emotional, spiritual. It is total liberation. You will feel incredible clarity. New ideas will visit you at night. Opportunities will arise without you even looking. Doors will open where there were no walls. And when that happens, you won't doubt. Because your spirit will already recognize it was God. It was Him. It is now. And all those who called you a dreamer, all who said you were delusional, will watch your rise in silence. Not because you're better, but because you never gave up, even tired, even in tears, even without strength. You kept going, and now heaven answers. The time of harvest has come. Have you noticed that some people avoid you for no reason? That some look at you strangely, as if they feel something, but can't explain it? It's because you carry a spiritual mantle that scares those who live in superficiality. You have authority without needing to raise your voice. You have a presence that speaks before you even open your mouth. And now that God has taken control, this presence will intensify. You will notice people reacting differently to your energy. Those who are of the light will come closer. Those who live in darkness will be disturbed because your essence is now being activated. Your spiritual DNA has awakened, and this shakes the codes of the environment. It's as if something inside you has been unlocked. You will notice it in the coming days. What once scared you no longer paralyzes you. What once held you no longer seduces you. What once controlled you now obeys you. Why? Because you took your stand. You said yes to God's command. And when a chosen one surrenders control, the invisible world rearranges itself. Angels are relocated, portals are opened, resources are released, because your mission has entered execution mode. And pay attention, this means delays are over. You will no longer live in that cycle of almost made it, almost happened, almost arrived. Number now is the time for fulfillment, for harvest, for manifestation. But for this, you will need something the world doesn't have: discernment. Because the enemy knows he can't stop you with scarcity, so he will try to distract you with excess. He will offer shortcuts, surround you with flatterers, try to contaminate your vision with a shine that does not come from above. But you've already been through the fire. You know the smell of lies. You know how to identify what is light and what is just a reflection. So listen carefully. Don't accept what doesn't carry presence. Don't unite with what was not sent. Don't share your essence with those who only want to absorb your anointing. This is a time of separation, of sanctification, of realignment. What's coming into your life now is too big. You cannot enter this new cycle with an old mindset. God is elevating you, yes, but to sustain this elevation, you will need spiritual maturity. Can you feel it? That restlessness in your spirit? That certainty that something gigantic is about to manifest? That is your spirit saying, get ready. Abundance is on the way. And it doesn't come alone. It comes with purpose. It comes with responsibility. It comes to fulfill what God determined in eternity. Don't try to understand it with your mind. The mind doubts. The mind compares. The mind limits. But the Spirit recognizes what is eternal. That's why you are here now. Because this message is not just a video. It's a code. It's an activation. It's a spiritual password. And only those with awakened spirit can understand what is being released here. Others will think it's an exaggeration. They will say it's fanaticism, that it's emotionalism. But you feel it, you vibrate inside. Because this word didn't come from outside, it came from inside. It was just waiting for permission to come out. And now that you allowed it, nothing will be the same again. You will dream differently, speak differently, attract different people, move with a lightness you've never felt before. Because God is driving the wheel, and with Him in control, Even your mistakes will be used as momentum. Even your falls will serve as steps. Even your enemies will be forced to watch your rise. And they won't understand. They will try to find logical explanations. They will spread rumors. They will rot in envy. But they will not be able to stop it. Because what is coming was signed by God. And when He signs, no one cancels it. This new phase of your life is marked by 3 things: supernatural direction, divine multiplication, invisible protection. You will no longer walk aimlessly. You will no longer beat your head against a wall. You will no longer depend on anyone's approval. God positions you now as a channel, as a reference, as an answer. And no matter how many times they tried to bury you, you're a deep root. You don't die. You are reborn. And now, reborn stronger, wiser, more connected. The time of darkness is over. The curtain has been lifted. And your light is about to shine with an intensity the world has never seen. Now listen to this with all your being. You were not born to survive. You were born to manifest the impossible. This ordinary life of yours, these repetitive days, this constant struggle that seems never-ending, all of it was part of a training, a divine disguise, a kind of spiritual camouflage to protect you while God prepared you in secret. While the world ignored you, heaven watched over you. While you cried in secret, the angels took note. While you said, "I can't take it anymore," God whispered, "Hold on just a little longer because I am coming." And He came, not as a loud noise, not as a public spectacle, but as a silent movement that changes everything inside. Because God doesn't start outside, He starts within. And that is exactly what is happening now, an internal transformation, deep, invisible to human eyes, but absolutely clear to the spiritual world. You are being repositioned, reprogrammed, redirected. Do you know why? Because what's coming now demands a new version of you. The old version was enough to survive. But the new version will prosper, lead, and expand. You are no longer the same person you were before. And you can no longer act like it. You were called to rule, and a king doesn't think like a slave. A chosen one doesn't walk like one who doubts. A bearer of the promise does not kneel before fear. And if you look closely, you'll notice the signs have already begun to appear. People who were stagnant in your life are being removed. Doors that were locked are being unlocked. Portals that were sealed are opening. But here's one detail you need to know. This will not be comfortable. Because blessing breaks down comfort zones. The manifestation of divine wealth demands movement. It pulls you out of the old frequency, forces you to let go of what was safe, but barren, and pushes you into a new reality where faith is the only ground. God is telling you, you depended on everything before. Now depend on me. And when it's with me, the impossible becomes routine. So if you've felt the ground disappear, the direction lost, the certainty's gone, don't panic. You're not losing control. You're handing over control, and that is the key. When you let go, God takes over. When you keep silent, He speaks. When you stop, He begins. This is the most dangerous moment for the system that held you captive. Because now you understand who you are. Now you're awake. And a waking chosen is uncontrollable. You will no longer accept crumbs. You will no longer bow your head out of fear to please. You will no longer hide your light to fit into dark spaces. Because from now on, you are the reference. You are the sign. You are the answer that past generations prayed for. You are the harvest of an ancient cry. And because of that, what comes into your hands now is not just yours. It's for your home, for your lineage, for your mission. The wealth that is coming is collective. It carries purpose. It comes with spiritual weight. It's not for ostentation. It's for expansion. And you need to be ready for this. Because the heavens are handing out keys, and keys aren't given to just anyone. Keys are entrusted. You are being entrusted. You are being chosen. You are being established. And this will hurt. It will hurt to see people walk away. It will hurt to realize you were surrounded by those who never truly believed. But it's part of it. You don't need an audience. You need purpose. And purpose has found you. From now on, your life will no longer be defined by scarcity. It will no longer be marked by frustration. It will no longer be measured by what you lacked. It will be marked by anointing, by authority, by impact. Because when God takes control, even lost time is restored. Pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you now. The next 7 days will bring signs. They won't be obvious. They won't come with written signs. But they will come with a vibration that your spirit will recognize. It might be an unexpected call, a new idea, a seemingly simple conversation, a message arriving at just the right time. You will feel it. And when you do, respond. Don't hesitate. Don't doubt. Don't retreat. Because every step you take in obedience will be followed by a release from heaven. This is the time of the brave, of the bold, of those who believed even when everything said otherwise. And you are one of them. That's why you made it this far. That's why you're still standing. That's why, even wounded, you still believe. Because you weren't created to be common. You were activated to be extraordinary. And the extraordinary starts now. You've come this far because your soul recognized this message. It wasn't luck. It wasn't chance. It was a calling to awaken, a calling to restart, a calling to take possession of the inheritance heaven assigned to you even before you were born. Now you know. Now you feel. Now you understand. God has taken control. And when God takes the wheel, there's no turning back, no returning to the old ways, no pretending you didn't hear. From this moment on, your life enters divine acceleration mode. Doors that were locked for decades will open effortlessly. People who ignored you will try to come closer, but you'll already be on another level. Because what God is doing with you is not visible to natural eyes. It's something only the spiritually awakened can perceive. You are being positioned in a place of prominence, a place where your voice echoes with authority, where your presence carries weight, where your silence embarrasses and your word transforms. Do you know why? Because you're no longer trying, you're obeying, and obedience generates acceleration. That's why from now on, miracles will become routine, signs will multiply, confirmations will come in succession, and what seemed unlikely will happen before your eyes. But beware, you will need to stay vigilant. Because with blessing comes envy, with abundance come false looks, with growth comes the test. But you're no longer the same. You're no longer vulnerable. You were trained in the valley to reign on the mountain. You were shaped in silence to speak with power. And now that God has given you the mantle, wear it with courage. No longer deny your greatness. No longer hide your light. No longer pretend you weren't called. Because this is the time to rise as the answer, as the solution, as a living miracle. Your presence already disturbs hell. And that's proof you carry something that transforms atmospheres. You're no longer authorized to think small. You are no longer authorized to act like a victim. You are no longer authorized to live in waiting mode. Because God has already decided. Endless wealth has already been released. Eternal abundance is already on its way. And you are the channel through which all this will manifest. So now, with all spiritual clarity, listen to this. If this message spoke to you, if something inside you was activated, if you felt that heaven gave you a clear sign, then write now in the comments, I surrender control. This is more than a comment. It is a spiritual act. It is a public seal that you heard and responded. Right now, I surrender control. And by doing this, you release a movement of acceleration in the spiritual realm. And there's more. If you got this far, it's because you're part of our community of the chosen. So like this video now. Show the spiritual world that you are present, awake, and ready. Share this video with 3 more people. Not out of vanity, but because you will be a channel of revelation in the life of someone who is about to give up. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel right now. Because the next contents released here will unlock things that have been blocked for years in your life. You don't want to miss what's coming, because this is just the beginning. The next days will be marked by intense revelations, by unexpected healings, by riches that don't come only in money, but in wisdom, protection, and advancement. So click the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, be an active part of this move. You were not called to watch. You were called to live. This channel is a meeting point for the chosen. And if this message reached you, it's because you are part of it. Don't ignore this calling. Don't delay this decision. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and get ready. Because from now on, God takes control, and endless wealth begins.